Hi, I'm Hannah, Frederik Meijer Gardens and Sculpture Park. Today we're going to talk a little bit about starting your seeds indoors for spring and summer veggies. Basically, I've got a couple of really basic tips to help you have more success starting your own seeds for your garden at home. There's a number of different things you can do to have a better rate of germination and make sure that your veggies all season turn out the way you want them to. And it's a number of really simple things. We'll go through them and hopefully you'll be able to apply them at home to your own gardening. The first thing I have here is a seed starting media, and basically you can find this at any home and garden type goods store. Something really basic, just potting soil or something labeled for seed starting. This specific mix has a lot of peat in it, and that works really well for small seeds. You can see it's not terribly heavy and there's not a lot of big bark chunks in it, which is nice for such delicate seedlings. The next thing that's important is what container you're going to use. Now there's so many different types of things you can use. I have a flat here, I have a small 4-inch pot. At home you can use things like an egg carton or a yogurt carton, something like that. If you do reuse something though, you'll want to clean it out with a little bit of water with some bleach, maybe 10-to-1 water to bleach. And just a quick rinse and that'll get rid of any pathogens that may be in there. Right here, what I like to use is these flats because they give you a really small little cell size, is what we call them, cells, and they work really nicely for transplanting into larger pots later. Additionally, you'll want to make sure that you have labels. It's very easy to say, oh, I'll label it later, I'll know what it is when they come up, but you'll probably forget because I always do. So you'll want to label what's on it, and you can also label what's in it, rather, and you can also label the plant date because that will help you keep records for the future if you want to grow that same type of plant again. And you can see on this flat here that I have a number of different plants growing in it. So what I do is I just label that one row of what's in it, and that helps me kind of see as time goes on what's growing and what's not and where did I plant what, because it's very hard to keep track of that after you get going. Most of the time when it comes to planting your seeds, a really good general rule is however big the seed is, that's about how much soil you want to cover it. And there are exceptions, of course, but most of the time any kind of seed packet is going to have great instructions right on the back, and it's going to tell you pretty much everything you need to know. So for something really small, you almost just need a dusting of soil on it. Right here are some lettuce seeds, and I'll show you in a minute how I'm going to do those, but sometimes you'll just sprinkle a little bit over and that's enough. Which brings us to the next part, which is watering. One of the most important things with seeds is that they're so gentle and small in there that a lot of times if you water them like you'd normally water a plant, you'll displace them or they'll pop out of the flat or move into another cell and they'll mix everything up. These two tools are two of my favorites, and they water really gently. There are certain things that are designed just for seeds, like this purple and silver one here that you can find at any type of home and garden store. Additionally, there are also these mist nozzles, and they literally just come out with a very fine mist, almost a fog, and they're extremely gentle. And those work really well for your first couple of waterings where you really don't want to disturb anything. On top of that, the nice thing about watering is that it also settles in the soil and the seed rather than actually providing water. It helps things settle, gives you better contact from the soil to the seed, which is going to give you better rate of germination. These are just a couple of things you can do, and now I'm going to show you my little example with lettuce seeds, and hopefully you'll have better success at home. So what I'm going to demonstrate is just planting a couple of lettuce seeds. Lettuce seeds are really small, and in some ways that can be trouble because they can easily move, but most of the time it's pretty simple. What I'm going to do though, and I usually like to do this when any seed I use, and I'm going to put about 3 seeds in each cell, because that way I know pretty much for sure that I'll at least have one in that container, and you can remove the extras later. What I just put them in is a flat that I filled with soil and I watered it. It's as simple as that, and I put the seeds right on top. Then what I'm going to do is just cover them with a teeny tiny amount, almost a dusting of the same potting soil that I have right here. Lettuce, like I said before, is a very small seed, so they need a very small amount of soil on top, and they actually respond a little bit to the amount of light that comes through. So that's kind of how that works as a general rule, but there's exceptions to every rule. But like I said, just look at the back of your seed packet and you'll get some more information. Then for watering, I have a watering can, and usually if you have a nice nozzle for the watering can it's low enough pressure that it'll do it really gently for you, whereas you probably wouldn't want to use your garden hose for something like this. But a watering can or any of the nozzles that I showed you before will work just fine for something like that. At this point, what I would do is I would cover it with saran wrap, or if it's a small container, you can pop it right in a plastic bag. And as soon as I see any kind of life coming out of it, something sprouting, you can take it out of this bag and put it in a sunny area. If you have a nice sunny window where you'll get 12 plus hours of sunlight, great. And if you don't, and you live in Michigan and it's a little slower to come on, then you can even just put it near a fluorescent light or get a grow light, which is pretty accessible at any of those same home and garden stores now. And that'll kind of get you through until we get a little more sunshine around here. After that, take a look at your seed pack, and it'll let you know when it's safe to plant that specific veggie outside, and just sit and wait and hope for sunshine. Thanks guys, hopefully these few tips will help you get your veggies growing for your garden this summer, and hopefully you'll come check us out at Meijer Gardens too. Thanks.